Seaton Sluice is a small seaside village in the south-east corner of Northumberland and was established where the Seaton Burn flows through its quaint natural harbour and meets the sea. Looking at it today, it's hard to believe that a few hundred years ago this harbour was the epicentre for transporting coal, salt and glassware not only to other parts of Britain but to the rest of the world. And all this was possible because of a local businessman called John Hussey Delaval. The frequent North Sea storms would regularly damage the stone piers built at the north-facing entrance to the natural harbour. Delaval also realised that it was too shallow to allow large sea-going vessels to take on cargo. Early ingenious modifications to install a series of sluices in the harbour to hold water back at high tide, then open them up to sluice out the built-up sediment, did work for a time. But it was clear that a better solution needed to be found to allow Seaton Sluice to compete with the likes of the Tyne and Blythe ports a few miles away. The solution, he realised, was to carve out a new entrance to the harbour, 900 feet through the sandstone to the east. Ironclad lock gates were also installed either end of this new channel to maintain the deep water and cater for the larger vessels needed to ship out the ever-increasing coal being produced. Large stone and wooden piers were also built on the seaside of the cut, or gut as it was locally known. This was to aid loading of the cargo. And on the 20th of March 1764, the new harbour entrance was opened, marking a meteoric rise in prosperity for Seaton Sluice. To add to its already famous glassworks, local coal and salt production, other industries built up around its success. A brickyard, a brewery were both established, and even shipbuilding flourished for a time, and Seaton Sluice enjoyed many years of prosperity. That was until a terrible accident took place in a pit about 2 miles away called New Hartley Colliery. In 1862, the pit's 20-ton pumping engine broke off and fell down the mineshaft, trapping all the miners below ground as there was no other exit. By the time rescuers reached them, 204 men and children had died. The bodies were brought to the surface and buried in a local graveyard at St Albans in Ersden. This had to be enlarged to accommodate all of the new graves needed. So tragic was this disaster, the law in England was actually changed, requiring all mines to have at least 2 shafts from then on. Local coal production never really recovered, and the nearby ports of the River Tyne and the port of Blythe became much more competitive. Seaton Sluice slowly became the quiet village we see today. So what remains of this bygone era? Quite a bit, it turns out, if you know where to look. The most obvious relic remaining is the 900-foot cut itself, separating Rocky Island from the mainland. During its decline, the cut was actually filled with rocks to help protect the harbour from the sea once its gates had been removed. Almost all of the wooden pierwork has rotted away, but the odd post still remains, poking through the jumble of stonework that once supported it. post holes cut into the bedrock that held its towering upright supports are still easy to spot along the shore. Steps that were carved into the cliff are still there that took dock workers onto the wooden jetty, and the stone footing on what would have been dock machinery can also still be spotted. Even the metal recesses for the deep water doors are still in place. From the air, it's easy to spot the huge piles of stones that were once the original failed harbour piers scattered about its entrance. So, the next time you visit Seaton Sluice for some fish and chips, a walk around the harbour, or a meal in one of its friendly pubs, take a moment to look out for signs of this little village's amazing history.